pick you up, was it a physical lift?
Yeah, they've never floated me out of the house. They've always sent somebody in big enough to pick us up and carry us out, and they didn't always send the best of the best
Okay.
to come and get us out of the house.
Right.
They were like helpers or whatever, and some of them was pretty awesome size. But this guy that was carrying me out, I didn't see the guy who was carrying my wife, but he just picked me up and held me in front of him up underneath my armpits.
Huh.
And my head and my was like dangling, but I was trying to hold my head up and look around with my eyes. And then they carried us right through this Stargate or porthole. And this was located right there where my television sat at the foot of my bed. And when we moved to this porthole Stargate, we went into this like room of bliss. It was like totally black, and you couldn't tell which was up, what was down, or sideways. And I'm trying to get a look at this guy that was carrying me, but you can see the smaller entities that was moving around me. And up ahead in the distance, there was another doorway or a light. Looked like it was coming from a doorway. And they carried us right through that. And I remember looking around, it got pretty bright. And it looked like there was like what you would see like an airplane hangar off in the distance. It looked like concrete or a runway, but it was all like squared off in sections. It didn't look new or anything like that, but I noticed these cubicle-looking buildings that they carried us up into.
Okay.
And went into the entrance, and I noticed that there was like a reptilian-looking doctor with blue scrubs on, standing next to a bed that looked like it folded out the wall. And excuse me, am I getting dry?
Yeah.
Dry mouth talking, but anyways, the bed folded out of the wall. And they carried me right past this doctor and into the next room. I'm assuming that my wife was in the first room. And as they took me into the second room, they laid me up on this same-looking bed that I just walked past. And I don't remember anything after that until the very next morning as I was driving to work. And it popped in my head that happened. And so I called up my wife as I was driving to work. I said, you remember last night? Did that really happen? And she's like, yeah, that happened. I remember. And but I had a hard time concentrating at work the next day about that.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But that actually happened. That's when I really started getting serious with the video and everything else after that.
Do you remember anything else from that account when you spoke to your wife about the events of that night?
We tried to talk about that, but we only remember all the way up to that point, and we don't remember. I'm assuming that they did something to us because because there was doctors there, and there was the beds hanging out of the wall, and they carried us on in there, and that's all I remember. Now we go there awake most of the time, and they bring us back asleep.
Okay. So when was it then that you've encountered these extraterrestrials? Like, because I know that you've encountered multiple species, and there were a lot of small details about these things that you've picked up on, like food and communication. And so, how many abduction experiences would you say you've had?
That's a tough one. It was going on for a long time, and it was happening almost at least 5 times a week for years.
Wow.
And it began to really starting to take a toll on the family and the kids and my wife and me.
Right.
And the longer it went on, when I was at work, I couldn't wait to get back home and experience something new.
Wow.
It was like, I mean, it was coming all the time, and that's what made it easier for me to try to catch them on video. Many times I try to get them on video, and just because it was there, you didn't always get a very good video of them. They'd be like transparent or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when they thought you was asleep, that's when they would come in more of a solid form, and they would pick you up and tote you out of there. But they would be there sometimes during the daytime, and mostly, in the evening. Peak time was around 1:30.
Wow. A.M.?
Night.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's great. A.M. at night, yeah. That's what I was asking. Okay. So how many, I have so many questions, David. I'm sorry. I've just got so many things going through my mind because it's so incredible. How many species would you say you've encountered, and can you describe them for us?
Right. Well, you have the normal species that, now I only call them a species because I've seen more than one of them.
Right.
And I've seen some creatures that I've only seen just one of them, and some of them didn't look right. So.
What do you mean?
But you have the alien race, and they all don't look alike, and they're all not the same height. Some of them have bigger noses, and the grays, their eyes are actually, they look like a snake's eyes or a cat's eye. Okay. It's slotted in the middle. What you see over their eyes, a cover, they peel off.
Ah.
If that helps out any.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes they only wear one of those lenses over their eye.
What do they wear them for? Do you know?
Still trying. I think that it might have to do with their cloaking ability. It might help them to see each other where they're at, and maybe to help them see better in the dark as well.
Right.
But that's the only thing I can think of that why they're wearing them. And then you have a reptilian species. I've seen pictures of on the internet that's real darn close to what they look like, and not all of them look alike. The reptilians, grays. Everybody says, oh, they're more like robotic, and no, they all have their own personality. They really do, and just like the reptilians have their own personality.
Right.
The only way I can describe it when you're being around them is like if you was at a shopping mall and everybody's getting around doing what they're doing, and they all have a special interest in either makeup or this and that. I mean, they all have their own personalities, and they all look different. Mm-hmm. Some are fatter, some are thinner, some are taller. It would be like looking at a group of people and saying, "Oh, humans look alike," and we don't. And they all don't look alike, and so people ask me, are they good or bad? It's like saying, are all humans good or bad? No, there's some of them that's out for their own blood, and some of them I would call human huggers, and some of them are just doing their job. And believe me, the only reason why they're doing what they're doing is because they're profiting off of it somehow.
Right.
I haven't seen no tender or anything like that, but they're running it like a business.
Ah. I wonder what kind of business. Some kind of genetic business, perhaps?
Outsourced abductions. I don't know. No, but while they're getting DNA, they're growing humans.
I'm sorry, did you say they're growing humans?
Yeah, and
wow.
And children as well. I mean, and where they send them, I don't know. They don't just hang on to them, but there is humans that live with them.
Really?
And they're usually workers.
Wow. So I wonder do you have any information on, well, I guess you just answered the question. You said you don't know where these human beings are going. I guess I can insinuate that perhaps some of those humans that they've created are possibly among us.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you something that I never talked about on any radio show I've talked about. But okay. They do come here. They let the humans come here as like a vacation.
Huh.
So they're walking among us.
Wow.
Families of them.
Really? What are we talking about, David? Here, are we talking about thousands of these things? Millions? or like of the
I
human
tell you what, I've seen thousands of them,
human beings?
hundreds of them, but I'm sure there's more than thousands of them. They live in they live their life. They eat, they sleep, they have children, and they're living just like we are, but different. It's hard to describe as different, but they do have living quarters. They eat in like cafeterias.
Are you talking about the humans that you've seen there, or all of them?
All of them, right? And just because you're human, humans don't seem to have the runabout like they got. Everything's controlled and tightly, knitted. So
wow. So, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh man, I just have so many questions. So it sounds like there's some kind of facility. I think from what I've heard from the interviews that you've given before, that these facilities are probably underground.
Right, I've been
on Earth, perhaps
underground caverns. Not the same spot every time.
Okay.
And they do have a train system down there. They don't have individual transportation. If they do, I've not seen it besides a golf cart.
Okay.
But yeah, massive tunnel systems, and some of the ones that they wasn't finished, like they stopped there, and there'd be like little tunnels that lead off of those into like, looks like what they taken me was like in a room like with a bed in it and everything else that, like they do surgeries or whatever they do in there. I've been in rooms that had a bunch of pipes in it and everything else. They sent me into this one room where it looked like it was it had glass windows, and in the center of the room it had something green in a glass jar. It looked like crystals or whatever it was, and it was glowing, but there was other two reptilians that were standing, that looked like behind maybe a glass wall or whatever, and it was looking in at me. I had no idea why I was there. Right. But then they would come and get me out and then transport me again. They would have different spots that they would stop, and somebody else would come and get me and move me further into it, so...
So this is a large facility of some kind.
Right, and it's a possibility that it's here on this planet,
right?
It's like it's tough to say that it was dimensional or whatever. I don't know absolutely for sure, but things that I've seen and it could be dimensional, that they're coming into our world and going back, or they're already here, and I don't know. So,
yeah.
I mean, that'd be like taking me to, putting a blindfold on me, taking me to the desert, and then take the blindfold off and put the blindfold back on and bring me back to my house and ask me where I was just at. All I could do is describe what the place looked like that I was there.
Right, right.
They never said, hey, this is who we are, this is where we're from. They don't seem to talk to me unless they find it beneficial to them, or if I nag them enough to get them to answer me.
Right.
So,
and you stated before in the past that you've never actually seen any kind of natural telepathy. Like they have technology to perform a type of telepathic communication, but you said that they speak verbally as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like we do.
I've seen a species there that it's kind of remind me of. They look like monkeys almost, but they couldn't even understand them. But those gray aliens, they had like this wand, and they walked up to them and they held it up to one of these guys' head, and then everybody in the room could understand what they was talking about, but I didn't. I couldn't understand it. But I was sitting there looking at these guys. I'm thinking they're talking to these guys and they're not talking to me. It's like, and they look like animals, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it kind of bothered me too. But
what do you mean it bothered you, that you couldn't understand?
Because